What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access, and today we are joined by CJ Mack.
Yes.
Thank you for coming through,
Thanks
sir.
Thanks for having me, sir.
Always a pleasure to see you, man, and chop it up with you because you've obviously an OG in the game and put in a lot of work over a lot of different eras and continue to do so today. One of the things that I've always found interesting, and we've talked about a lot over the years, is how you've progressed as an artist and how you've maintained and sustained things. So, you know, as I was knowing we were going to be doing this interview, I wanted to talk about a lot of the interesting people you've worked with over the years and kind of what you learned. So, like, what do you remember, like, the DJ Pooh back working with you, working with King T, like that era?
Well, first of all, Master Spade brought me around.
Okay.
I was like the hustling kid, you know, that wanted to rap. So I've been writing raps on paper bags and anything I could find since I was 14 years old. But I didn't really think that I could do it professionally.
Okay.
And I met Master Spade, and he just started bringing me around everybody. You know, he's like, hey, this is CJ, you know, I like his voice, he can rap. So he brought me around DJ Pooh and King T.
Okay.
And around the time when I came around, they had got a record deal. So I got the first deal with Capitol Records at the time. Right. I think it was King T Act the Fool. So when I came around DJ Pooh and them, they were full-fledged, like just getting going. Their first little record deal, and DJ Pooh was hot. He was DJing at the clubs. I think it was the Red Onion. It was Master Spade had a song, Red Onion, on a Tuesday night, you know? And I used to go to the Red Onion every Tuesday to fight. You know what I'm saying? Me and my crew, it's fight night for me every Tuesday in there. You know, we'd kind of tear the Red Onion up. But that's how I met those guys, man. And they let me see that, wow, you know what? I can do this also. So that's what I saw them working every day and doing their music. Pooh was always funny and telling jokes and everything, but they were serious about their craft. And I got a chance to go out to their video shoots and different things like that, man, and that started really influenced me to say, hey, I can do this too.
You know, I always think it's amazing when you look back and see like who worked with who, like way back in the day, because it's just astonishing. Which, you know, for you, one of the other things that I always thought was interesting, we've talked about over the years, but now looking back, like what impact do you think it had on your career getting with Rap A Lot and doing a deal with Jay Printz kind of at the height of West Coast gangster rap, doing something with somebody from Houston?
Well, I think that, first of all, I kind of felt like I wasn't being taken seriously here. Okay. Because of my background. I was like, you gotta figure, I was driving a 500 Benz when Q was in a Suzuki Jeep, literally, you know? And so, I think everybody just looked at me as the street dude that got some money and he's not serious, but I was serious.
Right.
So I was kind of taking it personal, you know, that like, man, what's up, man? These dudes not really giving me the shout I want. Like DJ Pooh helped me out. He did a lot of those songs on that record and some other things for me that we probably never even released. So Pooh was helping me out. Like I said, Master Spade was my biggest supporter. Spade introduced me to Eazy-E. Spade even had me on the phone with Dr. Dre before.
Okay.
So, you know, back in the days when I was just getting started, but like I said, I was hustling, so I was part of that, you know, that era. That movement. I was part of that other movement, you know what I mean, that was going on at the same time. So I didn't really get a chance, and by chance, I was going out independently. I moved to Atlanta, like with the Color Me Funky record. Back then, you know, I wanted to do like what was popular, the LL Cool J's and the Big Daddy Kane's, you know, I was on that, you know, and then I was like, well, I gotta do what I know once I came back on this end of the world and said, okay, let me do what I do. But Lil J was out here looking for talent. Okay. And he went to one of my homeboys from my neighborhood's house. He was trying to start Rap A Lot West. Okay. And so there's a bunch of people in there auditioning and all that, right? And I was just in there playing dominoes with him. Okay. And then someone said, CJ rap too. And he was like, you rap? I was like, yeah. And he was like, bust something. And I bust Powder Puff. Oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, you got some more music? And I was like, yeah, but my house is way out in Moreno Valley. I had a house studio equipment. I said, my producer up right now working. He's like, let's go. It was 2 a.m. Okay. So he drove a 2-hour ride with me all the way to Moreno Valley, basically sat up for another 2 hours listening to music and then left. And I was like, wow. So it's another interesting story of how I just left everything alone and went to Rap A Lot. He said he had a check for the same amount of money that I had kind of like missing in the streets in Chicago. So I said, I basically said, God, if you give me this, I'll stop doing this.
The game rotates.
Right, and they signed me and everything, and they gave me an opportunity. Okay. Lil Jay Printz over there at Rap A Lot, they gave me an opportunity. So I think it was major because it was a way for me to get my name known, regardless of the outcome. I think it was difficult for them. They didn't really know how to handle a West Coast act. They had a lot of influence in the South, but my music was West Coast.
Very, very.
So they couldn't really have the same hand, forceful hand, if I could say so, and with radio and different things like that on the West Coast. And then there was a lot of things about me and a lot of other stuff that was coming into play.
So for you, you know, obviously at that time in the game, you know, Cube was on fire, you know, Dub C was doing really well. Ice-T, of course, was still, you know, putting out a lot of very thoughtful and provocative records. So for you, like the social commentary, doing it the way that you did it, what wrinkle do you think that you added, you know, in what was going on?
I think reality, and I think I brought awareness that, man, we were losing a lot of people at that time, and it was hurting. It was very hurting. I have friends right now that are just getting out of prison from when I made that record. The names that I mentioned, they've done 22 and 23 years, and they're just getting home. And not because of anything violent, not because of killing anybody, but for drugs and trying to survive and make money. You know, and so that hurt me, and I think I brought awareness to that. No one else is really talking about that to that extent. You know, people was talking about what's going on, like Cube summer vacation or this or that, but I'm like, man, this dude is locked up for a kilo and getting 35 years. So I think I was kind of the only one that was really that close to the game. I was so close to the other world that I could talk about it in a way that no one else could.
Yeah, and then I think, you know, that was one of the things that I think, you know, endeared you to a lot of people, myself included, is that you added some of these other dimensions and layers. And then I think when we get to like the Shadiest One album that you're on quite a bit, I think that Dub also did that very well, especially with prior to that with Ain't a Damn Thing Changed.
Yes, he did.
And then, you know, you got Curb Serving in between that and the Shadiest One. But then for you, what made the Shadiest One such like a big project, and why were you on it so much, and how did that work?
We became really close friends. I met Dub C when Spade was bringing me around. So Dub C and I, even though he was with low profile, we were both seeing like we were just kind of like in the background, you know what I mean? So we kind of became friends, and then around the time.
And a lot of people might not know, he was in Rhyme Syndicate.
Yeah,
you know,
with Ice, you know, and which Ice, like I said, Ice really, he influenced me to rap 6 in the morning. It was crazy because I was living like that. I was like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, but so yeah, Dub C and I just became really close, and we would just, we do this, and he'd share tips and really showed me and brought me into the game. Like, Dub C really legitimized me.
Okay.
Because when I was on Rap A Lot, it was still a lot of controversy, and there were certain people that were saying, you know, I have to be watched, and I'm an older member from a certain area, and he's not no rapper, he's something else.
Right.
Like, it's really deep like that it got political with the radio stations and different people at the radio station. So Dub C, I remember the first time he took me up to the radio station, and the program director at the time, he introduced me to her. I won't say her name, but her. And she was doing some paperwork, and Dub C, she was talking to Dub. She wasn't really looking up, and he said, yeah, this is my partner, CJ Mack. She said, hi. I was like, no, who is this?
Right.
Then we went to the room with the disc jockey that was hot at the time. He did the same exact thing. And then later, he said that certain people were up there saying that, you know, I had to be monitored. And this is things people don't know.
Right.
But Dub C, he was really instrumental in bringing me in the game and making people believe, nah, he's really doing this. He's really an artist.
Right. And then soon thereafter, you had the Platinum Game project with Mac 10 with Who Bangin'. So you had, at this point, you know, had success in different ways with different people. So then getting more, I guess, affiliated with the West Side Connection movement through Mac, like what did you see with what he was doing business-wise that made you want to roll with him, and how was it different than like a Jay Printz or a Dub C?
Well, with Dub C, it's always been solid, even when I did the Mac 10 deal. Dub was like, yeah, go ahead and do it, man. He can give you some exposure and blah, blah, blah. But with the Mac 10 situation, Mac and I were around DJ Pooh, and when he was doing his thing for a while, and it was kind of like, whichever one of us make it, man, we're gonna pull the other one in. This was before Mac 10 was with Ice Cube.
Okay.
So, I mean, we used to give one another rides home and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So, me and Mac kind of went back before that. And then so when he got to deal with Priority, he was like, man, I got my own label situation. And he said, you know, I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but let's do it. You know what I mean? And I was like, well, how much money? He gave me enough money. I was like, let's roll with it. You know what I mean? So it was a lot different because Mac was just starting out, and he had to do things a little bit differently than Jay Printz had a little bit more control over what was going on. Okay. But Mac kind of had the West Coast, you know.
He had the market.
He had the market. He had the market, but I don't know, things just didn't really pan out in the situation for that label at all. Right. None of us really did well, but I appreciate him. And he kept his word and looked out for me, like he said. And like I said, from the jump street, he was like, well, I see what happens.
Right.
Well, so I can't be mad at that.
One thing, though, I thought that was another great thing that you did with Mac was Thicker Than Water, with Gator. Like your role in there, because I actually thought Thicker Than Water, of the movies made by rappers, like for real made by rappers, I thought that was one of the better ones. Yes. And I thought that—
I agree.
I thought that you did it. Fat Joe did a great job, I thought. Mac did a great job, and you did too.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. But Gator, I thought, was different in the sense that was a well-rounded character that we didn't see in a lot of the hood movies, right. Especially like the direct-to-DVD, even though that did get a limited theatrical release, right. Which I think is a testament to its quality. But for you, being in the streets, being ingrained in that, what did you see with the Gator character that made it kind of different than the other thugs or the other criminals that were in those type of movies at the time?
Well, first of all, that role was for Master P.
Okay.
And that's so he was in New Orleans.
Right. I remember that.
So Master P, some kind of way it didn't work out. I don't know what the business was, but I told Mac, hey, Mac, I could do it. And they was like, all right, come here and read. And I went and read, and I had my little fake New Orleans accent.
Right.
That I altered myself, And they was like, all right, come on, let's go. So I think that character was important because that showed the character he was true. He was true to his word. He was a real hustler, you know what I mean? And he was really, really with it. And that role was not unfamiliar with me in my life. So, so that wasn't a really, really hard role to play per se. But I think that characters weren't seen like that in that light. A good guy that wasn't really, he wasn't trying to kill everybody or anything like that. He was a real fair guy, you know what I mean? He was hard and he was serious, but he was fair. And he had no business at the end like he was supposed to, so I think that character was important for that type of movie. And like you said, you have a movie where you got guys from New York, you got guys from LA, and they even actually moved around and, went to different parts. So it was really, really well put together. I really enjoyed making it too. It was a really fun movie.